the SIM card in and I just hoovered one up. Do I have to put the feet, the magnetic feet, on the mount first? I think I do. And I cannot get that off for love or money now. Maybe I shouldn't have stuck it to it. Here's what not to do. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Sarah and I have been renovating this 16-year-old damp caravan for the last year. I have installed Home Assistant, I've got smart lighting. So one thing that's really important for a smart caravan is good internet. The problem is with busy campsites or festivals and that, those old 4G routers are really going to struggle. I was always thinking of Starlink, but I told myself, let's just see how that coped first. If it was fine, then it would be fine. I don't think deep down, I was really hoping it was going to be bad, and it was bad. So I got to order Starlink. So I am upgrading the router to a 5G GL.iNet XE3000, I think it's called. So obviously the difference between the 4G router and the new 5G router is obviously the old one is a Wi-Fi 4 and the new one is Wi-Fi 6. Now that does make a considerable amount of difference. And I suppose the one way you can think about it is if you think of Starlink like a 4-lane motorway, and then by pushing it into a 4G Wi-Fi 4 router, that's like taking a 4-lane motorway down to a single lane. No matter how fast the motorway was going, you're going to get slow in traffic and you're going to get a bottleneck, and that's the way to think about it. By having the 5G Wi-Fi 6, you're going to keep all those lanes open and hopefully get the best possible speeds. I wanted Starlink, but I also didn't want to have to mess around putting it up and taking it down and putting it up from the roof or setting up wires coming out the window. I didn't want that. I wanted it to be permanently mounted on the roof so it could stay up there whilst traveling, but I also wanted to be able to take it off easily should I want to use it elsewhere, because there are situations sometimes where I go away without the caravan. So yeah, this is where the guys from StarVMount came in. I reached out to them and discussed sort of exactly what I needed, what I was trying to achieve, and they were incredibly helpful. They've not only provided me with what looks to be what I think the best mounting solution for a caravan, but they've also supplied me with a kit to power it directly from the 12-volt supply and integrated directly into the router. So if you're looking for a solution to mount your Starlink in your caravan, there'll be a link in the description or a QR code in the screen where you can get yourself 10% off anything off their website, or just use code Doris Diary. So yeah, definitely check them out. So this is the kit that I got from StarVMount. So let's see what we got. So this is the DC to DC 12 to 48 power supply. This is what will convert the power from 12 volt to 48 volt. So it's the scan strut gland for taking the cable out to the roof. It's the combined 2-in-1 cable. So this is what allows us to go into the router and to obviously the Starlink. This is the mag pad. Convert a section of the surface on the roof to a magnetic surface. Unlike people in vans who have got a metal bodywork, they can obviously use magnet clamps, mounts to put the Starlink up, but because obviously the caravans are not magnetic, we're going to be putting one of these on so that these magnetic mounts stick to it. But today is an awful day. We're just coming down with rain, so obviously that part of the job is not going to get done today, and I cannot get that off for love or money now. Maybe I shouldn't have stuck it to it. Here's what not to do. And this is the main mount. So we also get a wiring diagram showing you how to put it all together. Must say it's packaged very well. And this is the StarVMount white bracket that's going to hold the Starlink in place. So the reason why we're going to use one of these is so we don't have to use one of the mains plugs, so that we can run this on 12-volt power. So here's a little time lapse of me running the cables from the fuse box up to where the Starlink router is going to come through the roof. But I didn't do it very well because I opened this drawer and now you can't really see anything. So
I do close it eventually, but yeah, I'm just running the cables through the back of the cabinet and then up to the cabinet where the router and that is. So this is going to connect to the cables under there between the fuse box and that cable I've just run. Then this barrel is going to be connected to the end of that wire, which then this one goes into, and then that travels up to the Starlink. So let's get the Starlink out. So this is the little Starlink Mini. It's actually smaller than I was expecting. So the way we get this mount on, so I think first we've got to take these little screws out first with the star key. Right, so I think this goes on like this, like that. This piece goes on like that. Do we have to get the cables in first? Let's have a little practice run. So this is the end that goes into come off, yes. Pull out the little plug. They are both pushed all the way in. Like that. That's to give it a watertight seal. Well, we're figuring it out together. This one goes on like that, and then these little screws get back in there. I've just realised, do I have to put the feet, the magnetic feet, on the mount first? I think I do. It's going to be really fiddly getting the little bolts on the other side, isn't it? So there we go, way ahead of myself. I'll take these bolts right out. So let's try this. Now these magnets are some super strong magnets. I didn't do it on camera, but that took a lot of doing to get that magnet off that mag pad on its own. So 4 of these, this Starlink is not going anywhere. Even if you could take the Caravan at 100 miles an hour, it's not going anywhere. Right, they are tight on there now. Let's get this down again. Push that up. And let's screw these in again. There we go. That is in. What's quite nice is there's some, I didn't show you before, but there's some like pads underneath here. So obviously that gives it a bit of a soft protection against any vibrations, etc. when it's on the road. Yeah, I think that's all right. So that goes up there. So I'm going to have a crack. Well, actually, before I do that, let's get this part installed. That end, shall we? So apologies about the mess, but here we have the Sonoff smart switch coming from the fuse box. That allows me to remotely turn the Starlink on and off remotely. That's running up to the power converter. and then the cables are then running round the back of the cabinets up to the cupboard where the Starlink has been brought through. Fingers crossed the rain can hold out. So let's have a look what we're doing. So what I'm thinking, I need to find the best place for the cable gland to come up. So I'm either thinking either behind here or just next to it here, and have a look in the cupboards to see where the best spot is to come up, really. Whichever way I choose, I'll instantly think that the other one would have been better. That's a bit of me. So that's where the ponting is coming through that gland there. So just got to measure really from the centre of that to see if I can get it to perfectly come into this cupboard. I don't want it accidentally going into that cupboard. I'm just trying to figure out the best place to mount this Starlink. Now, my original thought was here because I could get into it easily through the skylight, but then I'm thinking if I've got the skylight opening, then that's quite a bit of an obstruction. I know it's not a lot, but if you want ultimate signal, then obviously anything in that direction is kind of being blocked by it. So what I'm thinking is putting it back here, somewhere about there. What I have to do is get the cable coming through and then position it in a few different places and test it and see the difference and see how that affects the signal. If I'm finding that's not making much of a difference, then we will permanently stick it down. But I suppose let's do some testing first. The gland's got to come up in the same place, so let's get that through. So the centre of that is roughly around there. I don't want to get in ready of that plate, so if we were to say there, just going to go for it. Wish me luck. Right, let's go and have a look downstairs. Okay. It was a little bit too far out. You can just about see it here, which is alright, but I'm just going to probably take it back an ever so little small bit, so that it comes in behind here and down. But yeah, that's going to be funny. That can be one of the screw holes. Yeah. So that can be the screw hole for that one. I'll use that as a template. That will allow me to move it in to there. So effectively that's where I want to go. Let me just check this one's going to fit. It's got to fit this. Obviously the hole's got to be big enough to get this larger part of the cable through, so it is indeed. Okay. Yeah, it's too late now. Well, I'm going to go do it from up so that it's a clean. So it's a clean cut from the inside. Be right back. The drill, I can't get the drill in, so I'm going to have to go all the way from the top. But even if it's not clean, You won't be able to see it because it's in the cupboard. So there we go. And we have a hole. Actually, that's come out quite nice. Give this a good clean. Get that cable through before we do something to forget. Probably easier coming up than down. Oh. There we go. There we go. Oh. And we are through. So, this is the little gland that you get with the kit from StarVMount. Supplied with everything you need. That was the right size, wasn't it? So effectively, that sits like that. These two and that all over the top, and creates a watertight seal. But obviously, when I seal it, it's going to be really difficult to pull the cable in and out. So before I do that, we need to figure out where we're going to position it. So I'm going to get this plugged back in, tighten that back up. So I just need to go plug it in on the other end. Got it up and down this ladder, it's hard work. Give that a minute to power up. We're in business. So I have made the decision. I am going to be putting it here for the reason that if I put it there so that I could reach it from in there, the cable's not going to stretch long enough for me to be able to unplug it anyways. So for me to take it off and use it elsewhere, I'll have to find a way of getting up onto the roof either way. So to save the cable running all the way across the roof, I think this is going to be the most optimised position, the least obstructions, and obviously nice and close to the cable gland. So yes, let's do it. I've changed my mind, I'm going to put it here now, so that stops water from purposely dripping on that mount, and that is still no restrictions there either. Or I could actually do it that way. That's better. Oh, that is better. That's better. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So effectively we need to mount that there. Let's clean the roof first. Now I am not being shy with the silicone on this, because this needs to be stuck strong and not come off when you try and take the mount off the pad. If you wanted to be completely sure, there are 4 holes, so you could add some screws or some bolts, but obviously I want to avoid that. If for any reason it comes up, then that's something we can do at a later date. So Now I'm just going to do a bead of silicone all the way around the edge, because what I don't want happening is rainwater running and getting underneath, which would then obviously compromise the bond. I'm not the best at doing the silicone jobs, as you all probably know. But it's on the roof, so who cares? Don't want pools of water in those holes either. There we go. So now I can probably, because I'm going to leave it now for a very long time. I've got no need to take this off for a while. I'm actually going to put that on it and then just leave it on. They do say that once you've stuck this down, you don't want to go that way, little bug. And once you've stuck this down, you can't, if you put this on it, once you've stuck it down, you can't remove this for a few days, because if you try and pull it up, it'll obviously, the strength of those magnets will just pull this away from the roof. So it needs to be fully set. But I am going to put it down because I've got no intentions of moving it. There we go. That is on, and I'm all done. So that's how that looks up there. It looks really nice and neat and tidy. So this is the router that I've gone with. It's the Pulley GL.iNet. The reason I went for this one is because this one comes with an inbuilt battery. So when you disconnect the caravan from the power, whilst travelling, your router is going to stay online. And we don't have to hardwire it directly into the battery to stay online whilst travelling. So I think that might be a good idea. So inside here, I think these are the aerials. But obviously I've got the Mimo on the roof. So I think I'm only going to need one of these. So I'm going to take one of the 5Gs. We'll sit like that. Go. We are all in. Let's just clean up the mess. I forgot to put the SIM card in and I just hoovered one up. Good job it's a small hoover, eh? Right, the SIM cards go in here. The WAN. So that is where the Starlink's going to go. There we go. Right. So hopefully now we've got the Mimo coming down from the roof. We've got the antennas added on there. Obviously we've got one extra one, so we've used the internal aerial antenna rather. And then we've got the Starlink Ethernet cable coming down from the roof as well, and that goes directly into the router. That's currently powering through the plug socket, but I have ordered a cable so that I can plug it into USB. So once that arrives, I just need to swap that over, and then it won't be on the main 240 volt circuit. So yeah, now what I need to do is set up the settings on my phone and let's test some speed. And here we have the finished installation with the cover back on, so everything is all hidden behind this case and it's now powered on the 12 volt. So firstly, apologies for how long it's taken me to get this video finished. By the time I got it installed, I was a couple of weeks away from my trip to Turkey, and then when I got back, I had to get prepared for the festival the Wild Gardens Festival down in Port Elliot, and I thought, well, actually I'm going to hold fire, because what better way to test the ultimate caravan Wi-Fi setup than at a really busy festival. I'm pleased to tell you it is worth every single penny. In terms of the signal down there when you're in the festival, it was absolutely shocking, really hard to get online, but when you're at the campsite near Doris, you had great Wi-Fi. I'll flash up some screenshots of the speed test that I did down there. So without, obviously on a 5G router, couldn't get 5G, it was knocked down to 4G, and the speed was just under 1.4, 1.5 megabits per second download speed. But on the Starlink, we was getting over 200. And at that point, I don't know how I should have found a way of showing you, but I had about 8 people connected to the Wi-Fi at that point, and I was still getting a 200 meg download speed. Just a quick interruption, as completely forgot to mention, for anyone who's looking to join Starlink, I've got a QR code on the screen, which will get you a whole month free when you sign up, so check it out. There'll be a link in the description as well. So yeah, everyone loved the Wi-Fi. It kept the caravan connected. All the smart features like the smart lighting, the stereo system, all worked smoothly. No problem, not like the last camping trip. So yeah, absolutely 100% pleased. And in terms of usage, for the 4 days, weekend Thursday to Monday, with about 10 people using the Wi-Fi, the amount of data that I used, I think I used it was just over 200 gig. But the way I did it was I was on the standby mode. I didn't activate the 100 gig plan until I think it was about the 11th, and I think it cost me about 30 quid, about 98 gigs. And that's when I then activated the unlimited, which then only cost me a further £21. So I only paid, what, £51, but then actually I had the £9, so 51, so £60 it cost me. Whereas if I'd gone on the plan to unlimited, it would have cost me £100. So saved myself £40 by holding out and doing it that way. So, and then there's the mounting kit from StarVMount. 100% recommend that. I mean, the trip from here to the festival was what, 3.5 hours for me. It's 3.5 hours there, 3.5 hours back, and it didn't budge. It stayed there, exactly the same place. So much so when I got back, I took it off, and you could see the dirt marks around where the 4 circles were. It hadn't even budged a millimeter. So 100% recommend those guys for any mountain solutions for your Starlink, whether it's a Starlink Mini or a standard, whether you're in a caravan, camper van, motorhome, van. Definitely check them out. If you use the link in the description or use code Doris Diaries, you'll get 10% off anything in their store. So if you're not sure what you need, give them a call and they will help you out. And for anyone who hasn't been to the Wild Gardens Festival in Port Elliot, Cornwall, 100% will I recommend it. Absolutely brilliant weekend. We were there Thursday to Monday. It was just a fantastic experience. I've put a short on my channel with some of the highlights, but for anyone in a caravan, camper van, you've completely sorted. They've got the electric hook up there. The only thing I've learned is that I need a wheel ramp. I had a Malenko wheel leveler, wasn't enough. We was on a bit of a tilt. Couldn't quite tell if we were still drunk or if it was just the caravan being wonky, but apart from that, it was a fantastic weekend. So definitely check them out for next year. It's one to put in the diary. Yeah, all in all, 100% recommend. If internet's important to you, or you go to busy festivals, busy campsites, just get it. You're just going to keep wondering why you didn't do it sooner. And so yeah, 100% recommend. Don't forget StarVMount, and that's where I'm going to leave the video. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Bye bye.